And here goes Ja. Fouled on the way to the bucket.
I guard you though.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Come
you know
on.
it right here.
Come on.
You know I don't go nowhere.
Come on.
You know I don't go nowhere. You know that. You know that.
All right. Anthony Davis and Ja having a conversation about the evening. You're not going anywhere, neither am I. Off the miss. Eyeballing the rim. Yeah, how high does he get? Literally head high to the rim. Outrageous. And the building's going nuts as the Grizzlies are rolling. They're up 22. Ja here, the lead for Aldama. That's a three-point shooter. And Aldama's got some hops too. Morant had 16 in the first half. 15, 5, and 5. 3 steals in a single half for the first time in his NBA career. It's all Grizzlies. But this is a league where you get 48 minutes. And Davis hits the three, and it's a 10-point game. Little woo-woo-woo outlet. Davis, the knee and back and everything was hurting him, but he continued to try to will his team back in this game, but the hill to climb was just too much. Jaren Jackson Jr., who nailed a three to start the game, hits another three there, and the Grizzlies' lead is only growing. And here, just showing out and having fun, Conchar off glass. Jackson drops it down. Timeout, Dallas. But they got all off season to talk about it. They are done. And Memphis gets ready to take on OKC. The reward for Memphis? Well, they're going to take on a Thunder team who has won 9 straight against them going back 3 seasons. This is the 4th time they met in the postseason. 2 of the previous 3 have gone 7 games. If Memphis were to knock off the 1 seed, they'd be the first franchise in the history of the NBA to advance past the first round multiple times as an 8 seed. In 2011, Zach Randolph and the Grindhouse Grizzlies knocked off the top-seeded Spurs in 6 games. It is going to be quite a challenge. This Thunder team, one of the most dominant statistically in the history of the league, best points per game differential of all time. They're the betting favorites to win the title on ESPN Bet. As for Dallas, that's a wrap on a season which was impacted significantly by injury, yes, but obviously is going to be remembered for a long, long time for a trade in early February which changed the face of that team and in a lot of ways the league. Dallas did beat Sacramento in the 9-10 game. The Kings moved on from their GM immediately after. Meanwhile, Dallas's embattled GM, Nico Harrison, still has his job. He doubled, then tripled down on the Luka trade in a closed-door meeting with the media prior to the play-in, saying defense wins championships. The Mavs played for a championship last season. They don't qualify for the playoffs this year. And in a loaded West, how do they get back to being close to the championship again anytime soon? Gonna seem like almost certainly they don't. All-time stunner from early February will continue to echo in Dallas.
Incredible season. When you look at the injuries that we've had, the change, for us to even be here playing in this game tonight, it's incredible. It just shows the character of that group in that locker room, the fight, being prepared, moving on, learning from our losses and also our wins. An incredible season with the change and injuries. Some would say shouldn't even be here. So give those guys in that locker room a lot of credit.
We are joined now on SportsCenter by Ja Morant. Memphis on with an emphatic win over Dallas. And Ja, you guys jump them early, 7-0 right out of the gate. How much is the energy of that building responsible for fueling you guys for that start you got off to?
Very responsible. Obviously, we feed off their energy and always want to protect home court in front of them. And they came and showed out, big time for us today and helped us get a win.
I'm sure they were all nervous and hoping the ankle was feeling good off that one Aldama miss. You got your eyeballs up there around the rim. How was the ankle feeling this evening?
I couldn't feel it. I think that's why I was out there.
I understand, right? Your availability is your best availability. I understand that. Hey, you had to go tonight or you got no tomorrow. And this is a team, Ja, that you guys spent most of the year in the top 4. You're not built like an 8 seed. What kind of belief exists in the room with you guys?
I kind of thought, we're right where we at, right where we want to be. Back then, the underdogs. Obviously, we're going to face a tough team in OKC, but we have all the confidence, in ourselves and ready to go Sunday.
And it is a quick turnaround against an excellent team. But, Ja, ever since you've been there, we know that this team has never run from smoke. In fact, you guys run to it. I know you welcome that challenge. What kind of challenge do the Thunder present?
A big challenge. Obviously, we all seen them, over this season. Very well-rounded team. I feel like, they have potential MVP and, Shea over there that's, leading the charge. And we just got to be, very sound defensively, very disciplined, and just play our type of basketball, man.
I know your baby girl's waiting there, and before I let you go, just sort of the sense of this city and how you guys can enter into this playoffs, like you said, wearing that underdog badge, but I don't feel like you guys are an 8 seed. Just one last thought on what you guys feel like you're ready to go do.
We're ready to go achieve our goal. Obviously, it's going to be a process, a long time. We just got to take it day by day. Just continue to win the day, each day.
All right. Well, when you get feeling back in that ankle, I imagine it'll be sore. But you got
sure.
Well, you got a lot of runway to get that thing healthy, Ja. Thanks for throwing the headset on, man. Good luck the rest of the way. All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. To join us from Memphis, and Tim, I want to just start with the beginning and the group that Memphis started the game with. They've got options, and it's about matchups. And Edey's out there. There's a lot of question when he was at Purdue. Can he play in the league? He got another double-double, and I'm not saying he was the guy, but I'm just curious that the grouping they started the game with, because you made mention of it, how significant was that in the start they got out to?
Yeah, listen, I thought Zach Edey was the unsung factor in this game. And this is back-to-back games, really. He had 14 points, 17 boards against Golden State the other night. Struggled a little bit offensively in the fourth quarter of that game. But I thought his size and presence in the paint against a team this big was so important to allow Jaren Jackson Jr. to be more versatile out on the perimeter defensively. Dallas had very little opportunity on the offensive glass. They didn't get much at all, really, around the rim, despite all of that size. So I thought Edey was a factor. But look, the main factor in this game was the pace that the Grizzlies started this game with, converting turnovers into the open floor in a transition, living downhill off penetration. And that's really what got this crowd into the game, created the environment. You saw Memphis impose their style of play. That's what the question was for me going into the game. Which team could do that? Memphis clearly did. Number 1 in the league in pace, and you saw all of that in the first half.
For sure. And look, that's an electric building, and Josh said that they fuel them, they jump them early, score the first 7, they're off to the races, make a bunch of threes. In the same way that Dallas, in a way, won that game with Sacramento with that 44-point second quarter. It felt like the 39-point first quarter created a hill that Dallas just was not going to be able to have the energy to overcome. The matchup that they now face in OKC, this is not an 8-seed Grizzly team. They spent most of the year in the top 4 in the West. I mean, they were separated, obviously, by just a couple games between basically 2nd, 3rd, and then all the way down to 8th. What's your first thought on what kind of problems Memphis can present to a really, really good OKC team?
Well, first, I agree completely. I think that's a good way to sum up this Grizzly team. They're not a typical 8 seed. This was a team that at one point was a 2 seed, spent almost the entire year in the top 4 until that late season slide cost them, and they forced themselves into this position. A lot of talent, star-level talent at the point guard position. Desmond Bane is a problem at the 2. They've got a big that's an all-star in Jaren Jackson, who's a defensive force. They've got a lot of depth on this team as well. But, Scott, here's the one thing that they're going to run into. First of all, a team that has given them massive problems over the last couple of seasons. But more importantly, a team in the Thunder that's number 1 in the league at preventing points in transition. Oklahoma City changes ends in the floor better than any team in this league, and they get back and force you to play against their half-court defense, which, by the way, is also number 1. Defending the 3, defending the paint, and then converting turnovers into points at the highest rate. So you're talking about a buzzsaw defensively that Memphis is going to run into. They have enough talent on any given night, Scott, to beat anybody in this league in a particular game. Over the course of a series, with what Oklahoma City represents defensively, it's an incredible challenge for the Grizzlies.
This other win-or-go-home game of the night was spectacular in Atlanta. It looked like it might be a snooze for a bit as Tyler Hero and Miami are out and running off the miss on the alley-oop. Kyle Anderson, the lead for Tyler Hero, and give me all three of these. The Heat would lead by as many as 17 in the first half, but they have an NBA high 9 games they have lost when they led by at least 15 points. The Hawks do not go quietly into the offseason. Down 6, check that, make it 3. Trey with the big hit. Now tied at 88, that lead's gone, and you know Trey's ready to pull, and Atlanta, that building was on fire. They're up 3. Onyeka Okongwu, he hit a 3, then the steal. He was tremendous in this game. 28 points in 50 minutes of action. The Hawks now up 6, and it looks like Miami's on the ropes, but they're not. You talk about Heat culture, you can roll your eyes or you can see it. There it is. Hero had 30, 8 boards and 7 assists. Bam Adebayo loses it as the shot clock hits 0. There's the tip-in from Haywood Highsmith. That was a huge play. 3-point game. Trey down the lane, off glass, looking for an and one. No, but Atlanta's down 1. After a foul, Hero makes just 1 of 2. I thought Trey would pull from 3 in the win. Instead, attack gets the game-tying scoop. Wiggins went for the block, just misses it. We're tied at 106. Heat called timeout. I didn't get this. Hero's just standing in the backcourt. Complete. I mean, I don't even know. Just didn't. One part of the play, Andrew Wiggins had a look at it, doesn't make it. We go to overtime. In overtime, Davion Mitchell takes over. Only had 7 in regulation. He hits a 3. It's a 4-point game. Great pass, quick pull, 3 more from Mitchell. And Atlanta's lead is 7. The lead is 6. And this is a huge sequence. You see Trae Young kind of thought he could grab the rebound casually. But Mitchell keeps it alive. And then as Hero drives, this sort of a hockey assist. Tick, tack, and toe. Huge 3. That's it. That's all. As Mitchell was the monster in overtime, and the Heat win by 9.
I know how badly our group wanted to get in this thing. I could see that I could see it in their eyes. I could feel it, with their hearts. This group has grown closer together, from all these adversities. I'm so grateful that we're in the playoffs. If you have big aspirations, to compete for a title, you got to get an invitation first, into the playoffs. So tonight, I just want our guys to enjoy this. We've been through a lot.
Another season, another 8 seed for Miami. Last year, they dropped the series to the eventual champs from Boston in gentleman's sweep, 5 games. Year before, they reached the finals. This time around, they faced Cleveland for the first time in franchise history in the playoffs. As for Atlanta and Trae Young, they did fight back from down 17. They did force overtime, but they did lose in the play-in again.
Not making the playoffs is a failure for me. No matter who's out there, you know what I'm saying? No matter how much adversity with injuries we've had to face, I still feel like we've had a good enough group to make the playoffs. Nobody looks at us as a title contender and things like that. People know how much I really care about winning, and if you really, really know me, that's all I care about. And for me, I feel like we could have made the playoffs, so it's a failure to me.
In terms of the Eastern Conference Series prices, it's not nearly as spread out as it is in the West. Very, very top-heavy. Cavaliers and Celtics, significant favorites. According to ESPN Analytics, chances about 90% to advance. Closest series of the bunch, as you might guess, the 4-5. Pacers and Bucks with Indiana. We now have a grid set. We know who's playing who. And out west, man, it is all spicy matchups. But I'm asking you to just tell me one. You get to pick one that you're saying that's the one that's most intriguing. Which is it?
Well, I'm going to tell you this, Scott. Just in the West alone, we're set to see one of the greatest playoffs that we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. And I heard Legs pick Clippers and Nuggets, and I'm not mad at him about that. But I'm going Lakers and Minnesota. And they have a lot of people out there that think that the Lakers are just going to steamroll the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think otherwise. I think this series is going 7 games. The Lakers are going to win. But they're going to win because of that guy right there, Austin Reeves. Yes, LeBron James and Luka are the best players. Austin Reeves is the most important player. Because LeBron James is going to be asked to do so much defensively and other things, maybe play the center position, you're going to need that secondary primary ball handler to take the pressure off LeBron James. And let me throw this stat out there to you, Scott. They were 27-9 this season when Austin Reeves scored over 20 points. That's how important he is to this Laker team and their success.
I like it because, look, the stars are going to be the stars, but often in the playoffs this time of year, whether it's the NBA or the Stanley Cup playoffs, is that other person. Who's that person that's going to step forward? We'll see if it's Reeves. All right, in the East, I mean, the line beneath Boston and Cleveland and Boston, let me put them in the right order, is pretty significant. But the most interesting series in the first round in the East to you is which one?
I got to look at that Indiana-Milwaukee series. I mean, Scott, let me say this. A lot of people are picking the Pacers, and I get it. I'm going with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's solely because of what Giannis Antetokounmpo done the last month and a half of the NBA of the regular season. He was the best player in the last month and a half. And it's not just the 30 points, 12 rebounds. He averaged 12 assists throughout that 8-game winning streak. And I love the point forward of Giannis Antetokounmpo. That shows growth. The great Kevin Garnett told me he always watched those franchise guys, Scott, to see if they're able to go out there and get you 30 and still go get others and make others around them better. And we're seeing that right now out of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I believe he's going to be the best player in this series, is why I'm picking the Bucks to win it.
I'm with you that it's going to be an incredibly compelling playoffs, and there's a number of teams in the West for sure that could come out. There's a number of teams in the East as well, but I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked my guy Bucci last night about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Give me some teams that you're going to put in pen, not in pencil, in pen. You're saying these are the teams I think are meeting for the finals. Who are you looking at?
Well, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder coming out of the Western Conference. I think they check all boxes. They got the depth. They're deeper than the Pacific Ocean. Adding Isaiah Hartenstein, Alex Caruso in the offseason. You look at the other guys that they have around them coming off the bench, Isaiah Joe, the kid Casey Wallace. Those guys are big contributors. And then you know what you're going to get out of SGA. He's a bona fide superstar. And then you have 2 second options you could go to. Chet Holmgren or Jalen Williams. They defend at an extremely high level all across the board. I voted Lou Dort as my Defensive Player of the Year. They're coming out of the Western Conference.
And you feel like they're going to take on who?
Oh, the Boston Celtics. And I'm not being biased here, Scott. I'm not being biased, but they still have the best team in basketball, man. I mean, you look at the growth of the others. Peyton Pritchard probably is going to win 6th Man of the Year. Luke Cornett, right, double-double every time he steps on the floor. But that damn Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis, and with Jaylen Brown not being 100%, I'm looking at those 2 guys to be the best duo in the postseason right now. Jason Tatum is on the mission. People can say what they want. He felt disrespected after they won their championship last year. From not getting the conference MVP, finals MVP, things not going the way he wanted to go in the Olympics. He averaged 28, 8, and 6. Scott, I'm telling you that guy's on a mission, and this is a perfect opportunity right now for him to silence all the criticism that people have been shooting his way since he won his first NBA championship.
All right, Perk, appreciate you, man. I know the playoffs are getting going this weekend. We're all excited about that, but it's Easter as well, so I wish you the best for that. As we celebrate that this weekend, I wish the best to you and your family, and we'll talk during the playoffs, my friend. Thank you.
Same to you, Scott. Thank you for having me.